This product here should be going viral right now. How should Saratoga use content creators to make this water go more viral, but on their own account?
What our army would do, we have all these creators, they would take those clips, they would run them as TikTok shop things, and they would just spam the fuck out of those specific clips. Logan Paul, call me, because here's an example of how this would go crazy.
From a $30 million exit to leading the TikTok shop wave, Rob the Bank is showing how creators are building the future of online business and how you can do it too.
Give me a bit of an insight into how you first got into online business.
So I graduate college as kind of just this young, confused kid. And long story short, I see that my uncle is making a killing helping brands sell on Amazon. You know, he's got this boat, he's like, just bought a new house. And I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Man, let me see if I can do this. And I started telling everyone I'm this Amazon expert, I'm this young, nerdy kid. I just saw this is where the money was being made. And then that ultimately led to me starting my own brand.
How can this audience be able to scale it and repeat the process that you've done?
This whole TikTok system, the basic model is I create a product and then I get freelance creators to make videos for it every single day. To solve all this, step one.
What is the wave now?
I'll just be real with you. My last 3 months, I had like a meaningful relationship fall apart. I lost a $50 million business. And then 3 days ago, I get a call that, my mom has cancer. I feel fine saying that publicly and being relatively unfazed because that's what it means to be a fucking man.
Now, to say I'm hyped about having this man on today, Rob the Bank, welcome to the show, brother. Welcome.
Appreciate you having me, for real.
Mate, it's been a long time coming. I remember reaching out to you about 2 or 3 years ago to try and get this cooking, and then it just so happens we're here today. But mate, obviously scaled a brand, exited for 30 million, massively scaling on TikTok shop and everything in between. I want to cover it all today. I want to take these people on a journey that they've never seen from you before. Give me a bit of an insight into how you first got into online business and moving along like that.
I mean, total fluke. And I think that was like, I guess one of my natural opportunities or natural skills has been like, where's the money being made? Where are the idiots making money? Like, honestly. And so I graduate college as kind of just this young, confused kid, 22 years old. I went to school for basketball, so I didn't really give a shit. And I graduated a little bit early. I had like these pre-college credits. And I took half a semester off and I'm like, what do I want to do with my life? And like after like 2 weeks of sitting, smoking, playing Call of Duty at the college campus, I was like, I got to figure this shit out. Like I kind of went through this little existential thing. And so I go back home and I'm talking to my dad and uncle and kind of like learning their business and all this stuff. And long story short, I see that my uncle is making a killing helping brands sell on Amazon. And when I talk about the stupid money, my uncle, he's got this boat, he's like just bought a new house. And I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Like I don't fuck with my uncle at all. Like I'll lead with that. And he's making a killing. I'm going, you're doing what on Amazon? And he's like, I call these consumer electronic companies, like, car stereo, that type of thing. I help them list on Amazon. I get paid a commission. I'm like, that easy, huh? And like, you don't know anything about the internet, and so long story short, I started calling up supplement companies. Like I was passionate about the whole bodybuilding thing. And I was like, man, let me see if I can do this. And I started telling everyone I'm this Amazon expert and I'm this young, nerdy kid. And so people believe me. And long story, like fast forward, I'm getting brands listed on Amazon. I'm getting paid a commission. I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. And keep in mind, I have no internet money indoctrination. I didn't watch Ty Lopez. I didn't exist in any of that. I just saw this is where the money was being made. This seems to be a good thing. Poured into it. And then that ultimately led to me starting my own brand and kind of taking a full swing there. But that's how I learned the skills. And the second I saw these brands making money, like it made me that much more hungry. Like then I did become like a freakazoid with the Amazon algorithm. Like I spent all my time obsessed on how do you sell product on Amazon. And then, the brands weren't moving fast enough for me. I didn't think I was getting the respect I deserved either. And that's where I ended up starting my own thing and kind of, wanted to prove it to myself, prove it to the world.
So how important then is it for people just to sit there and observe where the actual puck's going before they go and just jump into all this random stuff?
It's fucking everything. And it kills me nowadays because kids are pulled in every direction with like, oh, drop shipping, oh, this, all that. And it's like, I wasn't incredibly gifted. That's why I said maybe one of my skills was being able to identify, like I looked at other things. Like I looked at like a cybersecurity company. I was like, oh, this is kind of whatever. And then eventually I saw this. I was like, oh, you can spend $1 and make $5. And now I look at the current landscape. I got back into this game after I sold my business and TikTok wasn't around yet. And it was hard. Like Amazon was more difficult. Like it was more saturated. Like it just, things change, opportunities change, windows change. And I would say again, like my skill was kind of taking a step back, taking a breath. And then the second I saw what was happening on TikTok, I go, that's it. that's Amazon all over again. And I think if more people looked through that lens rather than what is their favorite guru's lifestyle, like why is this kid driving a Lamborghini, they'd be more successful. Because the internet is a fucking goldmine, bro. Like in every way, in a lot of different ways. But the trap people fall into is really they're fed false dreams, right? Like everyone wants their little brickle condo with the Lamborghini, and like it's this whole game that jades everyone. You're like, oh, I should be trading crypto. Oh, I should be this, I should be that. And they end up spinning their wheels. Oh, it's all fake. Oh, da 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 da. When the reality is the ones that really figure it out and the ones that really take big swings have really generational like opportunities. Like look at like Iman, YouTube early, right? And that's generational, like playing it into real enterprise. And I just think more people need to think through that lens.
Well, Iman's playing a generational game, and I think he realised that, like you did, recognising the patterns. What are the patterns here? And he's been ahead of the curve the whole time. Yep. And he's also been willing to pay for the people, for access to the people, along the time. So obviously, he was one of the ones that was early in Sam Ovens' mastermind.
Yep.
Now he's just bought into WAP, and he's playing against Sam Ovens in the biggest space.
And smoke him. Iman, if we like want a quick detour here, like he's a humble, curious guy, and like online he looks like the final boss of this YouTube shit, but in person he's like, he wants to know what he doesn't know, right? And he's always like he doing a CPG brand, like that's where we talked, right? He had questions on e-com and this and that, and he's like, I've done it, and he doesn't come at like, oh, I'm Iman Gadzhi, like you've scaled a company, how's paid ads, this, that, and I've noticed that's another big trait in successful people. They never try to be the smartest, like big dog in the room, right? Like you have your areas of expertise, but then you're curious everywhere else, and that's another trait that I'd love to see reverberate through this younger generation. Like what can you truly learn across the board, holistically, not tied to like one specific skill set?
Yeah, because you literally, when you talk about all your skills, and when I look at everything you've stacked, it literally is looking at the market, see where the market's going, understand where it's moving and how it's moving, and then place your bet on the current, not place your bet behind the current where the current's already flowed.
No, exactly. Then it's too late, right? The ones that really make it are the ones that pretty much detach. So you can absorb what's happened, but really let go of that. And then say, where is the game going, right? It's like you look at brands still posting on Instagram like aesthetic looking photo shoots, dead. It's the brands that are making that raw, pick up your phone, like go out, like that's where the game's at now. And you see it, you see like big companies still adapt. Balenciaga, they did their last photo shoot all iPhone, right? And that's like crazy for a multi-billion-dollar company, but that just shows they're at least relatively in tune with what's going on. Mm-hmm. And the truth, I've said this too, it's all of the good ideas come from younger people. All of the money comes from younger people. Like the culture is set in this younger generation. They don't know business yet, but they're getting the views. They're setting the buying behavior. Like you're seeing it right now on TikTok Shop. The older people are not buying on TikTok Shop, but this younger, 22 to 16-year-old generation, they only will, and they'll continue to grow up, and that'll mature. They don't know anything about business yet, but they know how that platform works.
How do you maintain the drive when you exit for 30 million?
For me, one key distinction is that it's not about money, which is like super cliche, but the money component is great. I think everyone needs to solve it. Like I won't take away from that. But when you get a nice chunk of money young, you realize that it's a hopefully very long life, and there's a lot of opportunity to do a lot of incredible things. Like I just got back I've done 2 of the Billionaire Circuit events this year. I went to St. Bart's and Aspen. And St. Bart's, it's like you've got Jeff Bezos literally in the table across from me. Like it's this crazy thing, right? One of my business partners paid $100-some thousand for the table, and everyone in that bitch has like crazy money. And I'm looking around, and like I know a lot of them would rather trade lives with me where I'm at now. Like just I've got a beautiful girl there with me. Like I've got like motion, so to speak. These guys are paying for like a little fun, and they missed out on all these other components of life. And same deal in Aspen. It's like I'm looking around. I wouldn't trade lives with these people who have hundreds of millions up to billions of dollars. And I think I'm very blessed to have looked at it through that lens at a young age. Because if you keep chasing money, it leaves you super one-dimensional. The money fucking comes. I mean, it's everywhere in this modern system. We're creating more and more AI. Like all this stuff produces more wealth. It's there. but how well-rounded of an individual can you make yourself? Like, what frequency can you vibrate at that makes life holistically better? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I want to talk into like the evolvement of you, because obviously I want to talk on the podcast about TikTok Shop and have all the questions for that and how people can explode on that. But I really want to say, like, when I watch your evolution of self, you've gone from the guy that's life maxing, creating the content, having the multiple girlfriends, and then I've seen your evolution go to like, okay, that wasn't right for me. Like there's one woman, there's one way to operate, and I've seen you step more into that. So can you talk through that and your evolution of self within that realm?
One of the things I'm committed to is putting it forward publicly so others can learn, and then not having this definitive, I have the answer on it. So even that, like I had this stage where, you know, I'm married, my wife lets me, or like it doesn't care if I date, right? And so that's like, okay, and logically that does check out. It still does. Like, that's not incorrect. I know a lot of guys that's kind of their setup. And then it's like, oh, maybe you should be pursuing love, or maybe there is more fulfillment in one relationship. And then like, oh, you know what? Maybe that's not necessarily the answer either, right? And so it's this continual evolution and progression with, at the center of it, like unironically, one thing I feel very confident about when you talk about relationships, when you talk about goals in life, first and foremost, you have to love you. Like you have to pour in to you. You have to put yourself at the center of all of it. You don't chase relationships, you don't chase girls, you don't worry about the image with any of it. You literally pour into who you're supposed to become, and that is the path for fulfillment. Because at the end of the day too, when we exit this whole experience, it's just us there too. And not to get like too hippie or pseudo whatever, but that's just really where I've landed. And like, are you a hip hop fan at all? I use a lot of hip hop.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, unironically, I think the biggest master of self-love in the hip hop world is Future. Like unironically, I just think he embodies what it means to pour into yourself as a character, and never put like any, you know, female on a pedestal, like never any of that. And I think in his course, he's got 7 kids with 7 different women. I think reproducing is a very important piece of life. He has he adopted one of the kids from the baby mom, showing that he clearly values the relationship component to some extent, right? And then all the other girls that flock or whatever just seem to melt away. Like, they're not relevant, and they don't throw him off his goal of becoming who he needs to be. And I think that that philosophy can be better distilled, better refined, and brought forward, because you see a lot of like the great winners, they are on that type of wave. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what wave are you on now? Like, in this chapter, what is the wave now? Are you in one person, one girlfriend, all that kind of stuff, or are you on the wave of still multiple? No,
I just kind of right now I'm very much on that wave of like pouring into me, and whatever comes or doesn't. Like, I'm separated with my wife, but on very good terms there. Like she's extremely. I think it's really important too, from a relationship component. If you've had like alignment with someone and they've done stuff for you, you talk about someone holding me down when I had like 0. Like, she will be good for the rest of her life. We have a very good relationship. Extending beyond that, like, I'm just not overly focused or overly attentive to any woman. Like literally none of them excite me, which is a weird thing to say, but you kind of, like, as a guy, if you keep doing the things you're supposed to do, and you make money, and you're in shape, and you're building, and you're like emotionally aware, those are the most attractive things in the world to women, and they all flock to that. And then it becomes like just not like what do they bring to the table a lot of the time? And I haven't really found a good answer for that, honestly, which sounds, I don't want to like drift too into this isn't meant to be like misogynist in any way, but that's just kind of my current view of the world.
Quick one for you guys. As you're aware, in 2017, I set up contentremoval.com with the main aim of protecting brands from negative online content. So if you're an entrepreneur, a personal brand, or a brand online that's affected by negative online content, and you're looking to remove images, videos, search results, fake accounts, or anything else online, go to contentremoval.com.
I really want to go a bit deeper into this because I think it's so important, because we can go straight into the TikTok shop stuff.
No, this is the fun stuff, bro.
We'll cook on that, but I really want to understand how people can reverse engineer what you've learned.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were going to put together like a play-by-play of like 5 steps or however many steps you think is possible in order, like, would you tell them to get their why right first, or what would you say to get right first in order to step into this where they can launch their brand and stuff?
To just be this type of person?
Yeah, to be that type of person. Because obviously what I'm seeing from you and what I'm hearing in the nuance is you've sat at the tables across the room from like the Bezos of the world, and you see that they've captured all this money, but then they've perhaps got the woman of their dreams too late, and they've perhaps done a lot of stuff too late. Bezos got the body too late. He's doing all the stuff, but he's 20.
But maybe not too late, right? Like maybe on his time, but still,
But it's still better having that at 25, 30 if you can, right? So you've got that overall compass of being able to look at it. Knowing what you know now, how would you reverse engineer it so that everyone that listens to this can get it in the right step?
Mind, body, weaponizing mind, solving the money game, love on yourself, like in terms of physique and all that stuff. So if you start to break it down, I think everyone's like mental component is super fucked up right now. I don't fully know why. I don't know if it's like dopamine or short-term, gratification. Bro, like getting that mental component right is fucking everything. Like at the start of it, like you don't deserve to be rich until you can handle it. Like I'll just be real with you. My last 3 months, I had like a meaningful relationship fall apart. I lost a $50 million business to some crazy fucking stuff that I haven't really talked about yet. Like $50 million business blew up, probably $20 million in net worth, just. And then 3 days ago, I get a call that my mom has cancer. She's diagnosed with cancer. And I feel fine saying that publicly and being relatively unfazed, because that's what it means to be a fucking man. And to be able to weather that and continue doing the things you need to do and not shut down and stand tall and grow from it. Like pain is actual growth, and sometimes it comes in extreme waves and sometimes it comes violently, and that's when motherfuckers shut off and smoke weed and say, why me, and everything's bad. The second, like to solve all this, step one is radical accountability for your own life regardless. Life definitely isn't fair. It's definitely not fair, but you can 1,000% make it worth it. Like when I got that call that, like the business thing was fucking rough. The relationship thing was fucking rough. I won't it's just another thing. It's just like, damn, that's heavy. Then this, I'm still dealing with the ramifications of separating with my wife and the potential divorce. And then mom gets cancer. And it's like, and what are my choices? Like, cancel this trip, not do the podcast, cry, or stand up to it and prove that if you want to do incredible things in life, you're going to go through trials. And it's important to be who you need to be for all of those people, like, period. And so I think that mindset component is number one. And once you have that at least on the right track, because like you're not going to evolve to that person. You look at, I know you've had Tate on here, like Iron Mind, right? Guys like Trump, like to be able to handle all that stuff that like lawsuits, this, that, and still go up there, regardless of what you think politically, like they're clearly very mentally tough. Yeah. And so as long as you're building towards that, because it's a muscle, like over the long term, and just framing yourself properly there, that's the first piece. I think you need to crack the money component in some way, shape, or form, and that involves finding really gold rush opportunities, like again, discipline, being strategically focused on what you want to do. Hard work's important, but I don't think it's like, construction workers work really hard, right? It's about finding the leverageable things that allow you to buy back your time. The third part, I think, pouring into individualizing you. I spend a lot of time on that. Like, what does it mean to be me? What's the art that inspires me? What's the music? What's the designers? Like that individualism component. That's probably like the third bridge of this whole thing. And as you stack those with, again, this kind of ties back to the mindset piece, but an underlying tone of just general fucking appreciation for life, like general gratitude. I've been super big on this lately, and not enough guys in our world are. But you look around and it's like the people always bitching, they never, like their life continues to get worse. The people who are grateful for when you have like very little, their life continues to get better, and that seems to be written in the fabric of the universe. So I would take those three things and then make sure that you always have that general appreciation for existence under it, and I guarantee you'll live a life that's like fully maxed out and fulfilled. And I'm not going to say without pain, and I'm not going to say without difficult things. There'll be a ton of difficult things, like the better your life gets. But I think that's a recipe for a good existence.
Man, I love that, and I just want to send like love and healing to your mum as well. Before we continue with any questioning. I wasn't aware of that before the podcast, as you know.
No, it's the first time I said it. The first time I said it, yeah.
That's a lot, you know. I hope she gets better soon, mate, and, you know, sending out that energy. But brother, like you're right. In essence, you have to have a playbook in order to be able to operate at the level that you've operated at, and that's clear to see. When you step and look at it from a frame of like this blue ocean that you've seen as TikTok, and growing these brands the way that you grow them and scaling them to $1 million a month plus, and everything you're doing there. Obviously, every man and his dog now seems to be getting on that bandwagon. How can this audience seize an opportunity on there and be able to scale it and repeat the process that you've done?
It depends where they're at in life right now. What's the average age of like the viewer?
I'd say between 24 and 35.
Okay, so if you're like starting at the very bottom, it's a lot like me when I was trying to learn the Amazon thing. Didn't have a ton of money saved. I started as a consultant. Like I was helping brands. I was learning these lessons on other people's, you know, like dime really, and they're paying me. There's the equivalent of that right now. This whole TikTok system, if people aren't educated, the basic model is I create a product, I bring something to market, and then I get freelance creators to make videos for it every single day. And this is just the new way of media distribution. It's how tape blew up, it's how people will see this podcast, they'll come back to the long form, but the clips, right? If people see clips go viral, they'll come back to the main thing. It's no different with brand. So we launched the product would be the main podcast, and then we have as many people making content as humanly possible. Now the people who get good at making the content, they are making a shit ton of money. I have paid multiple kids, like children, 6 figures in a single month, like serious, real money, because they're good at going viral, right? They're native to TikTok, they know how to disrupt the algorithm. That is where I would start if you're like, you have nothing, right? And you're trying to get into this. But then fast forward, as great as $100,000 a month sounds, or you know whatever, $1 million on a year. Okay, well if we build this properly and we scale it to a certain level, this could be a potential $1 billion thing, right? Or 300-400 million, and that's like a whole nother level of wealth. And so I would learn those skills and be familiar, and then parlay it into eventually your own passion project, where you actually understand you can make the content. And then you can recruit more of affiliates, you can train them, like that's kind of how the model can go. And you just think about why it's such a beautiful time to be building. If I know how to make the content for this, and it's often faceless, it can be AI, like it's not influencer stuff, that's the important distinction. You don't spend any money on advertising. You're making the videos for free. Like it's really this unique opportunity that just exists because the world's changing, right? The world is like fundamentally changing. People are buying from video, Shopify stores are becoming less important, even how we consume media, like that's changing. I've told this story a couple times, but when, you know, I travel with my wife and we go to a new city, she doesn't Yelp food places anymore, she TikToks them. And she gets to literally see, you know, what's going on. And it's happening with products, and basically the ones that master this system are gonna be the ones that create tomorrow.
I think we've got to go then for a content first approach rather than a product, because I think what you're saying then is all the product, you can find the products, you can do that as the afterburner, but really before you do that you have to understand what makes it go, what goes viral, how do I make it go viral, what are the content creators in that niche that can make a product go viral. Because I noticed one of the things when I studied you as well is you don't give the creative a creative brief, you let them create the content around your product how they want to.
I'm old, bro. I'm old. Like when I first started working with these kids, I'm talking 16, 17, 18. I'm like, you know, this would probably be a good hook for Kingmaker, and like it just flops. And the next thing I know, they've hacked into some, you know, mechanism from the TikTok viewer, and it's like, all right, like this is a new wave, new skill set. So that I call it the weaponized autism.
I want you to this product here should be going viral right now, but it's not going viral on their own social media. It's going viral because of a morning routine from Ashton, right? How would you use how should Saratoga use content creators to make this water go more viral, but on their own accounts?
So watch Logan Paul call me. because here's an example of how this would go crazy. Logan just did a mocking one with Prime. I don't know if you saw that, but it's actually fucking hilarious. He keeps pouring Prime and dunking his face. Yeah. What our army would do, we have all these creators, they would take those clips, they would run them as TikTok shop things, and they would just spam the fuck out of those specific clips, like over and over and over, putting their own little edits on them in their own little way, and all of a sudden it's that same main piece of content, but because 500 people are now posting a video a day tied back to TikTok shop, it has potential to go absolutely nuclear. Like same deal, like, you know, if I was an investor in Big Day and I get a podcast with Iman where he's just sitting there talking about why he likes it, my Clipper army would do the same thing. They'd run that clip over and over again. They might, you know, it's called green screen, where they just talk over it, like, oh yeah, the benefits of this, and they just run that religiously. And you'd be shocked, like if one of these videos gets 5 or 6 million views, and this, you better believe like Saratoga would, right? Just because, or you better believe the Prime one with Logan would, it would print. Like I'm talking probably 10 million in sales, like right from that, like actually.
And they should be repurposing, I believe, the content with these great influencers that are using Saratoga water right now. They should be repurposing.
That's exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I jumped to Prime because it's more like I know them and it's like more consumer product. But yeah, that's what Saratoga should be doing. And not even them. And that's where it's like the benefit of having these creators. You think about this is a mature company that's been around forever. Their marketing team, I'm sure, is dusty as hell, right? Like it's just, and even if they tried to clip it up, like it wouldn't go viral. And then you get, you know, the stupid young kid who's like, whatever they're doing, right? But they're the ones that are gonna make the viral video, and it already has the motion because of like everyone knows this right now. You brought it, right?
Yeah, I brought it because I looked at their brand and I looked at their posting schedule, and I thought to myself, this is something so crucial to talk about.
Like what the fuck are they doing?
It's like you've got to know when and when to ride a wave and when not to.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And this to me is like the perfect opportunity for them to be like going double down, 8 posts a day, teaming up with creators. They should have signed him on a deal. You know what I mean?
But bro, it's like that just shows how antiquated and like why there's always this disruption. Like when I was starting Genius Brand, there's all these 9-figure supplement companies that are in bodybuilding.com and Vitamin Shop, and like they're the big dogs. And I'm this stupid kid who just bet on this the new way, right? And then fast forward 2-3 years, they're falling apart. I'm doing 30+ million in revenue off one channel because I committed to the new way. And so that's really what happens in these situations. Like the old people die because they don't see it. You know, they're too slow. Their marketing department's archaic. You look at Creators Corners is the program that trains the affiliates. It is children. Like it's like 17, like you wouldn't take it seriously as a big company, and then you unleash them and you add legitimately like $3-4 million a month on TikTok Shop as a brand new platform. Like that is real money. Like that's how the world's going to be won, but no one sees it yet. So like we're such early innings. It's not even like we're niche internet people, right? Like we see the game up close, but it is like literally no one like actually understands what's going on.
Well, I watched this young lad that I know that you know called Luka Washenko do it. Like
so Luca's one of the Creators Corners partners. He's one of the partners. That's like my little bro. Yeah. He's fucking printing. I don't even want to say his numbers publicly. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I know, but I've also known when Luca was down 300 grand because his inventory got stopped and this, that, and the other. Like people don't see that side of it as well. So
shout out Luca, man. Luca's an animal.
Luca's doing really well. Like, and I've had him on the podcast as well, probably about a year ago now. And to see his trajectory, because he had lost everything and he had started again. He just started to have some success with TikTok Shop, and then he gets impounded, and then he scales up again. He's doing mad numbers, as you know. And it's just there's an example of someone who's had to just keep applying himself.
Of real entrepreneurship.
Yeah, but keep applying it. Because the playbook that you give out today for TikTok and how to run it, I want people to understand that might not work for you straight away.
No, you're gonna get like, and to be respectful, it's his playbook, it's Jimmy's playbook. I'm like the guy that came in after them. And Luca's problem on the original brand that they got smoked and we helped him sell it and he got rid of it, was a shit product. So a lot of these TikTok kids, like why they were drawn to me, they had the means of going viral. Like Jimmy had a swimsuit brand that he did like $1 million in sales with, you know, color changing swimsuits, but it was like private label garbage. You know, anyone could copy it. Like there wasn't any enterprise value. Luca's was caffeine vapes. Everyone and their mother did it, and all of a sudden it just wasn't that cool. And then they, you know, I hit it off with them. I met them in Arizona like 3 years ago, and that's where this all started. And they're like, oh wow, you know how to make like real real products. I think we can, and then Jimmy's like, I think we can make these go viral. I was like, talk to me, you know, and he like, that's where this whole game was born.
Because they had the drop shipping mentality, and they were trying to bring it into the brand space. And I think you've helped them cook that into brand.
Exactly. And now it's like shaping so Luca's doing a new brand now. Like that's why he let that one go, and now he's still got some problems, and he likes to grow too fast. But
yeah, but he likes to break things.
He does, and I love it. I support that. Like,
he likes to break. He just bought his mama place, and it's lots
best shit tweeter too on Twitter. Like underrated shit tweets.
Yeah. But how can people build a defensible moat around their brand so that when they've got this thing that they can scale, that it's not going to get stolen and every man and his dog's going to start doing it like the drop shippers?
Honestly, it's really not. So that Creators Corner army and this group of like affiliates, that is one moat. Like if these kids aren't loving you and running your product, it's very difficult to like really scale. Like, and that's Jimmy, and shout out what he's building. The second piece is just that brand component. Like there's no difference between this and Mountain Valley, right? It's water, but it's like what makes your brand truly special. And so who's actually invested in that and not grabbing some private label, you know, crap off the sidewalk, and like who's actually, you know, doing something innovative and new. And I think once you reach a certain level of scale with that, that's where you like, it's just, that is inherently a moat.
So if you were going to go look for a new product to start selling tomorrow to build into a brand and scale on TikTok, what are the steps that you would take to do that?
So first I would become a observer, not a consumer. So I'm gonna open a brand new TikTok, and I'm gonna start liking products that I'm interested in. Like I wanna be in, people say you shouldn't pursue your passion, go where the money's at. I think the internet's so broad, we have the luxury of pursuing our passion. So brand new TikTok, start scrolling, like the stuff that you are interested in, and what's that algorithm gonna do? It's gonna feed you product after product after product, right? And so I'm gonna go from there, and I still love the Amazon piece. Amazon's like underrated in this whole world because everyone is focused on TikTok, but what happens when you go viral and they don't buy on Shop? They go to Amazon, free money. And so this is part of my validation equation. So you find something through scrolling, say you like see, okay, this looks like a good idea, but maybe something's wrong with it, or maybe it's like poorly executed. You're gonna validate that data on something like Calodata or like Helium 10. So Helium 10's Amazon, Calodata's TikTok. And you can go actually put the product in there and see like how many people are selling it, how many sales they've made. And I know there's a superstar opportunity if I see something blowing up on TikTok and there's none of it on Amazon yet. Like that's what Luca found. That's an $8 million a month opportunity that Luca found through that simple equation. Typically, and some people can literally go grab something off the shelf at that point and brand it properly. I like to improve everything by at least 3%. It's the Virgil Abloh rule, and I'll preach this from the beginning. But if you can improve something by 3%, you have contributed to the economic progress and growth, and your brand is validated. And so, like, I have a student that does mouth tape. You know, he saw hostage tape blow up, and he's like, oh, you know, the Velcro was too strong or whatever. So he fixed that, and then he made a lavender scent, 3% better. Applied the system, launched, $100,000 a month, you know, in the second month. And so it's really not more difficult than that. Turn yourself in to an observer, validate with data, Calodata, Helium 10, find a manufacturer. So that's like, you know, there's all sorts of tools like that. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but and just fucking send it, you know.
This is it's a very easy process that anybody can do, and it doesn't involve a lot of like Chat GPT and all this kind of stuff.
I love all that too. Like, you see the new update recently?
Yeah, so good.
Bro, it's fucking insane. I'm spitting off better brands there when I get bored, because I think like that's part of that creative process, right? What do you like? And I'm spitting off better brands there than I could make 10 years ago with like super talented designers. It's actually, so yeah, when you talk about designing the actual brand, sorry, I skipped over that step, but those tools are like people don't have excuses anymore. Like, all the barrier to, you know, all the like friction has been removed. Like, we don't, it used to be like, oh, I want to find a designer, or oh, I'm not a creative type. And it's like, bro, like, it's literally all right there for you.
So the sweet spot literally is new TikTok account, look for products that you actually like and that you're interested in, so you can actually stay the course with it. If they're not selling that product, if you like that product, it's doing well on TikTok, but it's not sold on Amazon, that is the sweet spot that allows you to scale from anywhere from like 1 to 8 million a month.
That's where you find like super, because Amazon's still TikTok's the hypey thing, Amazon's still where there's hundreds of millions of dollars every year, right? Like profitably in like a well-oiled machine. TikTok's the Wild West. But yeah, I mean, it's like really not rocket science. Like actually, like the old Amazon playbook was like way harder. SEO, like all these different images. Now it's like, it's actually like, I don't even know if Luca has a website, you know?
No, I don't think so. No.
Like doing $8 million a month.
Guys, as you may be aware, over the last 8 or 9 months, I've been doing mentorships one-to-one with many businesses and many brands, helping them scale their revenue, scale their systems, increase their growth. I've done over $10 million US online myself with contentremoval.com since 2017. And I'm telling you now that when you get the right mentorship at the right time, you can unlock a whole new level. And I want to be that for you and for your business and your growth. Now, the caveat is here, I don't want to work with you unless you're already doing over 10K a month. But if you are doing over 10K a month right now and you want to scale yourself to a whole new level of life and benefit from my experience, me getting the arrows in the back on the way to success, if you want to benefit from that, click the link below this video, go on the mentorship page and make an application. And if it's right and if you fit the narrative that I'm looking to help, then I'd love to work with you.
There's so many lads like Luca underground that people don't know about. That's the beauty of this game. Like, because obviously with you, you've built your brand, and that's why you can attract bigger opportunities. And I want to talk about that now, because like obviously you sit down with like an Iman Gadzi, you sit down with an Umar, you sit down with all these people, even just us sat down on the podcast. All that's happened because you've built personal brand. What's your kind of advice and steps to doing the personal brand thing? Should people obviously try and make their first piece of money without the personal brand and then incorporate a personal brand into it, or?
I don't like blanket advice nowadays because everyone has their own, like, you know, some people are naturally like really good at making content. And so maybe they can figure out a way to build a personal brand. I think a lot of people, it becomes a distraction. Like there's just no reason for them to do it. And we don't have a reason, then that shows. Like no one's gonna follow you if you're just aimlessly posting, right? Without like a mission. And so I think there's incredible benefits, obviously. I think documenting in general is huge. Like that was Iman's thing, right? Even when he was 17 or 16, he was posting like those videos. People love to see the progress. But it's really not a one size fits all answer. Like personal brand's a beautiful thing. And even like those people in St. Bart's, the super rich people, they need, like even they want some presence now. But that doesn't mean they have to be posting every day, right? It's like it means something different to everyone. My business partner, he, like 2 years ago, he hated Instagram, it's stupid, like he's just gonna make real money, it's worth a couple $100 million, and now he has trouble dating, right? I'm like, give me your Instagram. You have a sick life, we got my photographer, we're gonna capture a couple photos on these. Your Instagram is just gonna be you, like a 1-word bio and 6 photo dumps. And that is aura. Like watch that change your entire life, because the internet is becoming real life, regardless of what people say. And so again, I don't really have like a one side, like he's not gonna attract deals from it per se, but now when he does go to do a deal, like he actually is, you know, working on one of these bigger TikTok brand deals, it's like $100 million thing. Now those people's perception of him is already a little bit different.
But how have you curated the character Rob the Bank? Because obviously you go from Genius CEO as the Instagram handle, I think, and obviously Robert Oliver as the human, and then you create the character Rob the Bank, and you step into this way of dressing, you step into this way of being, this aura, this looks maxing, all this kind of stuff that you speak in.
Yeah.
How are you making sure that every element of your life is curated so that it fits your personality and looks good on the feed too?
Well, I'm just being me, and people like in today's world, like they find that so shocking, refreshing, polarizing, and it's like different flavors of me. But it's been this progression of like at the center of it, this is who I am. And I realized like a year ago, I need to be louder with it because everyone's scared to be themselves. People are scared of being judged. People are scared of like shooting that shot for no logical reason. And so I really want to be a symbol of that like, well, I don't give a fuck. Like I just don't. Like I've had health, I've been through so much, like there's not a fuck left to give. And I want to inspire people to feel that earlier on. Because you see all the, you see the young kids who move with that same energy. Like, you know, Tyler, TJ? Like TJR, like,
trades,
blowing up right now.
Yeah.
And TJ doesn't give a fuck. He inspires me. He's 22 years old. He doesn't give a fuck. Like actually, like he'll post like sus stuff. He'll go buy a crazy, you know, Barabbas. Like, but at the center of it, like that's him being him, and people resonate with that. And I think the more that others are inspired to do the same, the better world we're going to have. Like really, and that doesn't mean like no one should be rob the bank, no one should be TJR, but they should know what it means to be themselves. They should go through that self-discovery process. They should be, that's what I said earlier, like I want to document all this and say when I'm wrong or say when my perspectives change and just always keep it real. And I think that is a formula for, you know, a following, and B, a good life. And so I'm trying to bring that forward.
Did you have to sit down with yourself though and get a journal out and really go into who you were and what your pillars are and what kind of content you wanted to put out?
Yeah, so that's like you do have to realize it's an algorithm for sure, right? And I guess that was like a pivot a couple years ago, and now I'm fortunate enough where I think I have enough of a platform I can freestyle it a little bit more. But you do have to have some level of like specific. I can't.
Yeah.
Word's horrible. But you have to have some like intentional approach on that. But again, that's pretty easy when you're living a certain way. It's like, okay, well, like fitness and, you know, Muay Thai, and I guess the center of my life. So we'll make that one of them. I do this e-com shit every single day. Like we'll make that a huge piece of it. I've been building brands forever. I love the branding design component. We'll make that a piece of it, and then just let it flow. And so, yeah, you have to be intentional with how you approach it for sure, but then still like keeping that, you know, like true to yourself component. I say this is a character a lot of the time because it's like a character for social media, but it's just an amplified like
version.
Me.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what it is, and that's what works. Like that's what you kind of learn the game, and then you put your mark on it.
Yeah, obviously I see with you got the fitness side of it with the Muay Thai. I've got the boxing side of it with what I do, and it's like when you're congruent in the areas that you actually play in, then it shows, doesn't it? And you can grow through that.
Definitely.
Where I think a lot of people are going, okay, what is Rob doing? And then I'll copy Rob's style.
Exactly, that's the mistake.
And
you have to like actually go. That's what I love about the social media piece, and I hope people don't take it the wrong way. When I say like live for a living, you get to continually progress your life. But the key is to continually continue elevating your life, learn new skills, have some, like next I want to do music, you know, and that's like a huge pivot. But again, it just ties back to like not giving a fuck. Like Jake Paul, great example of all this. Like Jake is real. Jake is Jake. But you think about 3 years ago when he first pivoted to boxing, everyone called it stupid. Everyone wanted Nate Robinson to knock him out. Like let's hope Jake Paul loses. And even himself as a public figure at that point, that's stressful. Like I don't care what people say, that is a risk. That is a bet on himself. That is a bet on something entirely new. And this again ties back to looking at the game and seeing where things are. And he looks at boxing, he goes, there's money there. These guys don't know how to promote. I'm gonna send it. Okay, risk. Now 3 years later, global jet. You know, like matching Maybach. Like that is what is possible in this world. And that's what's possible with social media, and that's kind of the message I'm trying to bring forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you think of Jake?
I think he's got a phenomenal brand. I mean, as a professional boxing trainer, which I was, looking at him from boxing fundamentals, obviously he's come to the sport late. He's doing well considering how late he's come to the sport.
He's getting better. Yeah.
But obviously, like he's not on a level of like a Floyd Mayweather or a Lomachenko. That's the kind of art that someone like me likes to watch. But I understand that man understands something that no one else understands other than Floyd, which is how to capture attention.
Yep, and that's how you get paid. There's so many great boxers, so many great artists that like don't know how to blow up.
To me, it doesn't matter whether I love the person's art or not. What I study the playbook that they're following in order to get the attention, in order to sell what they're selling.
Yeah.
You know, which is you know what you've done, what Jake's done, what Logan Paul does well, what Iman's done well, Alex Hormozi. Like you're all running a separate playbook, and the playbook comes from the authenticity piece.
Yep.
If you dress like Alex Hormozi, you wouldn't have a brand online. You'd be a carbon copy of him. But because you've got them funky glasses that I could never wear, you know, with the little bits hanging off them, like I could never wear those, but that's you, and everyone recognizes you for that, you know.
If I dress like Hormozi, I think I'd jump off a cliff.
You're not fancying the wife beaters and all that.
Hormozi's not my thing.
Nah, not your flavor. But mate, if you can't be everyone's flavor, that's the whole point. Otherwise you wouldn't have a brand in it. Do you know what I mean?
He's a beast. Don't get me wrong. I respect he blitzed that content thing and
yeah, he clips up. I mean, what's your brand when you blow your brand up? Do you clip everything up on sub accounts and then drive it all back to the main page? Is that how you're blowing up your brand continuously, or are you driving it all from the main page?
I've always tried to see where is the social media game going, because like windows exist in time where people blow up. Like, how old are you?
I'm 36.
36. So you remember when Instagram popped up? You were in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Like, you remember like Ulysses could like post a fitness that you could go. They had 10 million followers off just posting a fucking Instagram square. Right? You post an Instagram square now, you get zero anything. So where's the game going? And then really around the Tate thing was when I realized like, okay, we're moving into a new era where what's going to happen next is going to be actually pretty scary. Like, let me break this down. I think I have a better view of this than most people. Do you know dead internet theory? I don't want to get too...
No, go for it. I want to hear it.
Okay, so there's this idea that eventually, like, most of the internet is going to be bots and AI and all this weird stuff. And so we think about social media right now. Your main Instagram all of a sudden matters less. TikTok started this. You can have a brand new TikTok like account with creating products, go super viral. I could be Rob the Bank with 400,000 followers, and I can post a shit video and I can get no views. Like, followers don't matter on TikTok. It is all about the content and will it go viral. You get one video, Ashton Hall level, it could come from who knows what account and everyone's gonna see it. And so that set the framework for these secondary accounts, right? It didn't matter until now Instagram and YouTube are starting to make the same changes. Instagram, all of a sudden, your main account matters way less. Like, these secondary accounts, it's not full TikTok yet, but all of a sudden you have reduced reach or extreme reach on your main, and new accounts have the ability to blow up. YouTube, same deal. YouTube is like also prioritizing new creators. And so what happens is now the world we lived in, that main Instagram where it's like I wanted 10 million on Instagram, that's becoming less valuable. The content distribution is becoming everything, meaning how many videos are going out every single day, what's the coherence of them. Belmar did this super well right after Tate, right? He clip farmed, quotable things, had a village in Asia, spamming out hundreds of videos every single day. That all makes sense, right? We're tracking that. And so that's very much the game right now. Like, WAP is going crazy with like clipper stuff. And what's happening, like same with music, like Drake just signed up for this. You clip for Drake, you get paid 7 cents or whatever. It's a side hustle. And so yeah, I'm very much I've been in on clipping for like fucking 2 years. And I made a hard commitment like 7-8 months ago to build it out internally aggressively with like some coherence. Cause you can't just, like with all this stuff, it's like, it sounds good, but what's the actual execution? Iman does it better than anyone. He has like the Iman unscripted page, it's super curated, but those are all swings at bat. That's all intentional content that's being made to, go viral. And then you still have the main YouTube video, like that's the goal. Have all this traffic, like me and you shoot this podcast, and hopefully we can get hundreds of clips out before and hype it up, and then people are curious to come back and watch it, right? That's what could make one go crazy. When did you do the Tate one?
November.
Of this year?
November, yeah, last year.
Or last year, yeah. But that's like another good example of someone who's always viral from clippers. And he's great, right? He knows what he's doing, he has the talking points, but that system is what had him getting 1 billion plus views in the beginning. And so yeah, I'm very much in on that while still trying to have like masterpieces at the center of it. Like really good main Instagram content. We're gonna double down on YouTube because that's where people will remember your name. It won't be the follower count anymore. They're not gonna come tune back in. It's just like, did you have a good story? Mm-hmm. Like, did you have some substance at the center of it? But where it gets scary with dead internet theory is you look at this AI right now, right? And you think about like a Luke Belmar. A Luke Belmar takes 50 of the best tweets that are already viral, and then he puts it in ChatGPT and says, give me 50 more. And those are his talking bits for secondary pages. And all of a sudden, everyone's just regurgitating the same. How many times have you heard the same quote a different way on a secondary account? And as this scales more, because it's being rewarded, like what works will go viral, right? Even if it is the same stupid talk track, there's becoming less and less new. And we're at the early stages of it. Like WAP's pouring into this, everyone's pouring into it. You're gonna see all of this regurgitated content going nonstop. And then as the AI gets better with, even video and like graphics, you're going to see this scaled more and more and more. Like I already see it with my products. It's like the same 20 hooks across different products. Like if you took Shilajit for 30 days, this is what would happen to a man's body. Like that's the hook. And then someone reuses it for, if you took apple cider vinegar for 30 days, and that scales out, what's going to happen is we're going to be hit with so much shit content on an ongoing basis. This is getting a little bit deeper, but people are, I think people are eventually just going to log off 3-4 years from now. Like how much regurgitated, because we're not making, like nothing new is being produced as much anymore. And as that continues to leave, people are going to get sick of this hyper optimized virality. You heard it here first. Yeah. Dead internet theory.
I like that. I'm just pondering on how that comes down the track and how you can stay ahead of the puck, so to speak. I suppose the only way is authentic content. That is literally the rawest form of authentic content put out there for the right reason. Can only garner you a result. There's no other way, is there?
And then, for sure. And then I think, well, not really, because yes and no, right? It's a billion views on these secondary pages, like Tate was getting, or like Luke's getting with clipped up stuff. That's still going to be like heavy, right? Like that's still going to be the people that are largely like winning. Like it'll probably be like a handful of faces. But I think like really winning in that world will probably be off the internet. Like are people offering in life cool things and cool experiences and able to maybe leverage the internet to bring people to that. But I think we're starting to move in that direction where we've kind of reached this like stage where real life experiences will probably be meaningful. We'll see. Now I'm just kind of speculating.
Yeah, but it's interesting you say that, because I've seen even YouTube's moving towards the interest thing rather. That's why I'll see channels with 50 subscribers, brand new raw channels, come up in my feed because I watched something else, someone talk about that topic before, so I'll see his piece of content. I saw a founder the other day that had exited for like 20 million. I'd never seen him before, but now I know about him because of his raw channel he started, and his first video got 36k because it's like his title was like, how I sold my brand for like 20-30 million, and it's some guy I'd never heard of. That's the kind of content right now that's getting pushed to me. Now he would have never shown to me before.
And if he doesn't know, and then the other side of that, if he doesn't know content well, his next video will get 1,000 views, and no one will then all of a sudden he just won't be seen.
Yeah. So how are you winning on the YouTube game?
I haven't yet, honestly. Like I have like a healthy amount of subs, but I think again it'll be a similar. I think YouTube is an opportunity to create those masterpieces. Yeah. So if Rob the Bank can get a couple 100 million views on secondary, and then I release something that's really good and sticky and memorable, that's how you win that. So I do have a pretty crazy YouTube video coming that we've been working on for like 2-3 months. There's like acting and all this stuff, and it could be a total flop, or it could be that. I think Iman does this super well. Iman goes through those sprints of like very high production, whatever. He kind of keeps his name on people's mind with the secondary stuff, and then masterpieces, and that's what makes people remember.
Well, he has a real special way of doing it. So he builds a true masterpiece series, but it's all a video sales letter that leads them to an outcome. Then every one of them is a video sales letter, everyone.
I know.
And then he uses the main accounts and puts the link in all the main accounts, drives the short form clips and drives them all to one video. And that, I think he was telling me one video done like 24 million or something like that. From one video, and the AdSense on that video was 400k, which is crazy when you think about what you can cook if you can reverse engineer it.
You're in Dubai not paying no tax. That's it's NBA money.
So are your masterpieces gonna be like what's the outcome of the masterpiece? Is there gonna be one, or are you just doing it for a masterpiece?
Yeah, the first one will be around this whole TikTok thing. It'll be like pursuing your passion, launching a brand. So that'll be like a funnel component in it for sure. Yeah. That's called a movie mentory. I'll shout out Michael Drift, my YouTube director. He pioneered this style where it's you might have actually seen one of the videos. He didn't know how to monetize it back in the day, but Hamza? He had like the brainwashed cult of Hamza, and the video it's called movie mentory. So it's him talking to the screen, like in a talking head video, and then acting, and then talking to the screen, and then acting. So it's this hybrid of like entertainment info. And his first one on it was like the brainwashed cult of Hamza. I think got like 1 million views, like pissed off Hamza, just like, question the critical thinking and all that stuff. It was a really good video. But long story short, Drift like never monetized that well. He came to work for me, and so we're gonna spin off some of those and see if we can keep the movie mentory alive. A lot goes into it though. We had like 3 days of, we hired actors, like we It was like a whole thing, but it's the step-by-step of how to teach someone to do it while showing kind of real-world application. So I'm really excited about that coming out.
Yeah, and then I suppose you'll just drive it all from short form. Yeah,
and Instagram, all that stuff, and see how, and then hopefully it catches the algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, just with this clipping thing as well, before we move on, it's like, you've got to have a good bank of content to clip up as well. Like,
So
I've not done clipping yet, but I'm eager to learn.
You gotta send it, bro.
Eager to learn.
Because you have this all day, right?
Yeah, I've got like 240 episodes. If I started clipping right now, I think we'd.
And you got Tate's face, you got Belmar's face, you got Goddy's face. You gotta go, bro.
Yeah.
So like, let me invest in this shit. Come on.
I think after the podcast, I want to talk to you about this clipping,
for sure.
because I want to cook. Like, you blow my mind before and after this podcast.
But you have the people too. A lot of time, like Tyler, TJ in Puerto Rico with me, like he's. I'll be like, oh, TJ just brought his Brabus here, and he got a young colt. And the second they see that, they're like, oh, this kid Brez Scales. Have you seen him?
No.
He's blowing up right now too. He's doing it super fucking well. He's 20 years old. It's probably one of the best clipper guys I've seen because his WAP community. But he hits me last night and he's like, I did a video on young kids buying nice watches. I'm like, fuck it, full send it, abundance. He does a little TikTok tagging me. He's like, Unc, I need some advice. I want to buy this Richard Mille, Long story short, I set up getting the Richard Mille for him last night. Like, they came over, kid buys a $180,000 watch. But I put that on a TikTok, and then all of a sudden, like, it just goes, and it's like.
Actually, I did just see a 20-year-old on Twitter, just some random 20-year-old come up.
That's got to be him.
Is this the guy?
Got to be Brez.
Bought it last night.
Yeah.
I don't know who the guy is, but I literally saw it on Twitter or X before I came in here.
I set that up.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. It's crazy how, like, breakthrough things like that, where a young guy does something completely like off the par. Like, not everyone's buying an RM, are they? When they do that, you can blow up on any platform,
And you know what actually started him? Because like there's some, I haven't like mastered it. I don't know what the science is exactly. It's starting to happen for me. Like, people see his face, like, oh. But what started for Brez was two things. When he was first going, he crashed his Lambo. He was like 18. Crashed his Lambo. I think it got 17 million views or something. Like, not horribly, but it was just like, oh. Then he crashed his M3, so all of a sudden he became like the car crash kid, of like the luxury cars. And then he had another super viral clip where someone walks by him and goes, nice rental. And like, he's like, hey, it's not a rental. And like, those things got so many views on TikTok that all of a sudden you need like a couple that get your face out there. I've noticed that. Like, I'm going viral right now just saying like Miami makes you rent rich. Like, I was kind of, you see that?
Yeah, I've seen your Miami versus New York thing. I was going to ask you about why you're doing this right now.
Like, it was just a person. The first one was Miami doesn't make you rich; it makes you rent rich, and I'm like the internet's rich uncle. Like, all these young internet money kids look to me, and it's like I've made real money, and so what I've come to appreciate here is a lot of these kids are stuck in like a not cool lifestyle inflation. Like, they're just buying the thing because the other kid's buying the thing, and all their money, like, they're making some money, but it's all going out the window. And so my main message was like, I love Miami. Like, I think Miami's fun, but like, this specific city, Brickell, like, it's not a wealth machine. Like, there's not people here talking like Iman trying to get, equity in WAP and like launch, like, it's just a different talk track. So I felt the need to make, then you go to New York and it's like, that's where all the old money wealth is. Like, it's just a different.
Well, yeah, that's the video I watched where you were saying like, Miami is where people come on the weekend from New York and spend their money. Yeah,
it is a great place to. It's the most fun place probably in the world, right? But it's like not where. The other quote I had, it was Miami might wear Louis Vuitton, but New York owns the stock, and I think that just kind of summarizes like the entire deal. Like, most of the kids here, that they rent the most expensive thing they can, like, living wise, like they want the $15K a month of high rise because it looks good for their videos. They want, the most expensive car payment they can tolerate, and they don't realize this like fast internet money, if they're not really tapped in, it's super short-lived. I've seen like 3 cycles of gurus where they make their money, crash the fuck out, spend it all, no one likes them, and all of a sudden they have an entirely different life 2 years later, and they're sad and down. And they didn't like get any real assets. They didn't do any of that. Shout out Tyler again. Tyler's 22 and he's buying property in Puerto Rico. Like, he does fun, stupid stuff, but he's actually like, I'm here to change my family's bloodline, and I'm just trying to instill that message more into this younger generation.
Do you think there's a point? Obviously, I presume you moved to Puerto Rico for tax reasons and when you're exiting and all that kind of stuff. Does there come a point in your wealth journey where it's better just to be in a bigger city like a New York where the opportunities are and pay Caesar, aka the taxman?
Yeah, it just depends what you're doing, but overall, I think taxation is theft, and I don't think the benefit of being in some of these, like I'm not a big networking guy. I have a killer network. So people ask me, how do you network? Well, it's because you create value in yourself and the right people come to you. Like you attract the right relationships, right? They come naturally. And so the idea of going to a big city and like faking it or social climbing is hell to me. And I think it's like poison. And then places like Puerto Rico, again, you look at it logically, if you're saving 30 to 40% a year and you only have to be there for half of the year, it's really hard to not make that make sense. Right, it'd be like do you want to stay in London and pay 50% because you might bump into whoever doing coffee, or you want to build your shit, pay nothing in Dubai, and have the freedom, right? And so I'm just a big advocate of like compounding, and tax is reverse fucking compounding. It's really hard to get rich paying tax.
I get it, but when obviously I've lived in the UK and I've paid loads of tax, and lived in Australia and paid loads of tax, and now I'm based in Dubai. But I just see America. I come over here and I'm looking around. It's like a candy shop because everybody, the average man and woman here is just so slow off the ground. Like even how they walk down the street is fucking slow to me. Like I'm on a mission. I'm an immigrant. Like there's money to be made. I come here. I'm looking around. I'm like I could wash cars here and make shitloads of money. Because it's just that kind of economy and that kind of place. I don't think there's anywhere like it in the world like America.
No, and that's what I said. Depends what you're doing, right? Like, and if you're trying to scale a podcast, this is like
it has to be here. Like where else am I going to be?
It's perfect. No, for sure. So I wouldn't like take there's always asterisks on specifically what you're trying to do. But again, I look at Jake and Logan, like they live right next to me in PR. They're media personalities. It's like when it's 5 months there. And it's a great place. And I fly people in all the time. And like, you know what I mean? So it's like, again, that equation, like I have a place in Miami. Like I come to Miami for sure. I get all the benefits. And I don't pay 40% tax. So.
When Diego suggested on the WhatsApp chat, he's like, you should come to Puerto Rico. I was all for coming to Puerto Rico, and then my head of brand's like, no, just concentrate on the podcast, record more episodes in Miami. And she's right in what she's saying, but me, I was on the plane to Puerto Rico. You know what I mean?
We'll run back episode 2 out there.
We were doing episode 2. We're doing episode 2 in your place for sure, mate. Because I want to come and see it. But are you structuring your time now? So you're doing 5 months over there. You're doing 7 months here now?
Yeah, I would say I've kept it pretty open. Like, my kids go to school out there, so that's like I got a couple places out there. That's like home. Let's say on paper, I probably end up like 7-8 months out there. Like, I really do love it. Like I lock into that routine. I get my shit done. A lot of people come out to me. Our community there is starting to get strong. I think we're gonna build that place to be like the shit too. With we got Tyler, Jimmy, my business partner, just moved out there. So there's like a lot of, I don't feel like I need to get off the island, if that makes sense.
I could probably get 6 podcasts at your house.
For sure. Like for sure. Like there's people like, Jack Neal. Like Jack Neal's coming out because we got, Belmar's still out there. Like I think, I don't know, I've never seen him. But
but no, there is a lot of reason to go out there. I'm definitely coming out there. Let's go into this real thing, like this you're talking about before on the podcast about this brand that you just lost. You lost 20 to 50 million, right? I want to dive into this because I really think there's a lot of insight that you can give on one, what you've built and how you've lost it, but how to avoid this for other people. So give me a breakdown of what's happened in that.
This is the first time I talked about that, honestly. So I had like Top Shelf was hit on it, and then another investment that was just fucking crushing it. And basically our Amazon got smoked. And we're still kind of trying to get to the bottom of it. Like it's got all the way to Amazon's head of legal. I'm not operationally involved at the brand level. So still like I've had to gather a lot of the details. But at some point, like 2 months ago, they obliterated our Amazon and said we did like review manipulation, which is like a very vague term. And so we're trying to get to the bottom of it. Because I'll tell you, like we haven't done anything super aggressive. Like all of our business comes from TikTok, it spills over to Amazon. And I think what's happened, like one of the red flags is we grew so insanely, like truly insanely fast. You go from 0 to like 40, 50 million. That probably looks weird to Amazon. And something with the FTC happened, and like it's a weird deal right now. Like influencers are getting attacked for paid reviews. And somewhere along the line, our shit got wrapped up in that. And Amazon is a huge company, and they shoot first and ask later. And like, I had some scares like this with Genius back in the day too. But this is the first one where like there's some policy change on the Amazon side too. And we hired this bad consultant. And long story short, I don't think those businesses are coming back, which is like actually fucking sickening. Like it's still, you know, like I've made enough money where my bloodlines are fine and all that stuff. But just from like a winning and a scale perspective, this is like one of my first like, oh, I'm catching a haymaker right here. And I've been shocked. I've just viewed it as like a really unique opportunity again to like, okay, I got people that depend on me. We got to pivot. Like this is what entrepreneurship is made about. You know, is made.
So what's the major lesson in this for you? What's really sticks out?
On that, from my perspective, I should have been more in the weeds and paying attention to details on that. But I think like the broader lesson is perseverance is what fucking matters. Like we're gonna bounce back. We'll rebrand the product. Like we will come back from that. And when we do this podcast in 2 years, there will be a really good story or another reframing to set up for a really good story. Like perseverance over hard work all day. As long as you are willing to stand in there and stay tough and not say woe is me. Like when your work catches up with your worth, you'll be a billionaire on that front. Like that's what I believe. And so that's been my like real life application of things I believe. Like I always say that when my worth catches up with my work, I'll be a billionaire because I work at this stuff all day, nonstop. And this was one of those hurdles. And again, it's just like, well, if you actually wanted to make it, did you expect to not go through some fires and have some crazy stories? Like how many times has, you know, every guy on the Forbes list like either been hanging on from a thread or been under and had to bounce back. And so it's really just, I guess, perspective again and reframing and shaping.
Give me one of your perspectives that you're cooking in your head at the minute that you've not spoken to the world about that you think you can articulate, because I really want to find out what's going on in your mind creatively. 'Cause I don't think enough people, I think podcasts, they ask all these generic questions. I just want to find out what's currently going on, what you currently looking at, cooking, seeing a different perspective on that you've never seen before. I want to hear it.
There's one quote I love. It's creativity without business is victimization, and business without creativity is just stupid. And what I've really come to appreciate, there is a huge gap in creative and business. And that ties to music, it ties to fashion, it ties to quite literally everything. Like artists don't know how to do business. And I think I exist in this unique, and like I encourage everyone, every artist, like fuck being a starving artist. Learn business. Like there's no pride in being broke. Like I'm sorry, there's just not. And so if you can't learn like marketing and like just general business, you're never gonna make it. So that's like one thing I hold true, and one thing like I want to be kind of my message, because artists make the world go round. We're all artists. We all have that in us, and like I want to inspire and have people create their shit and like do their thing. But if they can't make money doing it, then they'll be broke forever. And then if you zoom that to where I'm at right now, it's like, well, okay, I want to be that bridge that, like I said, inspires people to do anything, but get paid doing it and kind of be at the center of this whole thing. The only non-tech billionaire in that top 5 is Bernard Arnault, the French businessman that owns LMVH.
Yeah.
And it's because he's brought together business and creative. Like it's not more complex than that. So there's so much opportunity in that side of things. Jake Paul is another good example of someone moving like this right now with like W. You know, that's business, enterprise, meets a creative marketer like that, and he's playing both sides of it. He's doing it with, you know, Better, the betting platform. And so that's like kind of the core. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like my core message right now.
One of the things I actually see you doing, and I don't know whether you've thought about doing it yet, but I kind of see you stepping into this in the future, is buying brands that have kind of fell off or just behind the wayball a little bit, the same way that Bernard Arnault did with LVMH, and then kind of recover them and modernize them for the TikTok shops and move them.
We got some stuff like that in the works.
Yeah, you cooking some stuff like that.
We got some good stuff.
Yeah, but you've not done that yet, have you? But it's a play you're making, I suppose.
Yeah, and there's a couple, like I don't speak on everything I do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and I think it's especially important now too, even with this whole Amazon thing. It's like, you know, did I play a role in that? Did I piss off some leftist at Amazon who looked at me? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm being really I think like at this stage, when I first was building, like it's important everyone knows you're like have some credentials. At this stage, it's kind of like, okay, I probably don't need to be as public with the moves I'm making, and maybe we can tell the stories in hindsight. But I'll say we have some things like that, like working.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just thought that would be like, if I was you, that would be somewhere I'd be looking, and it just so happens you are looking at it. I try and think to myself, where is the puck going for you, and place myself there.
How big do you think this can be?
Well, with you on the back end of the TikTok shop and Iman on the front end driving brand, a lot.
You're pretty big, aren't you?
Lot of money. I think Iman is a phenomenal entrepreneur, mate. And like you say, we've both met him in person and spoke to him. I think what he's doing is phenomenal. I think that move with off the cuff. Well, it's on the podcast now, but you know, I got a message early January saying that he was going to launch with school, and I hazard a guess that some egos got involved there with splits, and he turns to WAP and he buys WAP because egos got involved. And that's a classic example to me of why you shouldn't let your ego get involved in business, because that would have been phenomenal for school to land that.
It's the miss of a lifetime.
And to have three spearheading that. And that is 100%, and I know the ego that would have got involved in nuking that deal, and that nuking that deal will go down in history as one of the dumbest mistakes.
Come on, Sam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'll tell you now, because they would have sent it on all levels. But just seeing him move into WAP and everything he does, but I just got a funny feeling you're gonna play some chess piece like this at some point soon.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And when you pull this pin, that's going to be another phenomenal podcast. Dive into this into your personal stuff, because I really don't think people see enough sides to you. Like when it comes down to like balancing, like being a father, being a good partner, and building brand, when you've got this massive vision for how you want your life to look, how are you balancing all that to make sure that you're available for all the people in your life and a good dad and all that stuff?
As a man, your number one thing and most effective thing is to lead. So to be the person you are supposed to be, like be a reflection of that, be that pillar, be solid, be strong. Like even me and my wife are going through stuff. She still knows like I am this like anchor. Like I'm always going to be there. You know, how you talk to people, how you treat people, all that stuff. You know, raising daughters is an interesting phenomenon. It's an interesting equation, and you know, you start to you see it out in the world of like, okay, like a lot of people haven't had good dads, and so even on that side of things, it's like I've come to accept this last year, my time is going to be limited. Like, are they the number one thing in my life? Yes, but that's not from a time perspective, because if I don't do the other things in life, like as a man, that will sell their life short. But when I'm there, like when I'm, you know, spending time with them, it needs to be like such a deep and true love with, you know, uninterrupted, you know, I'm not touching my phone, I'm not distracted, like I am fully giving them the love, attention, like all of that stuff that they deserve. And this is something I've been like wrestling with a lot, because there's other guys who sell a business and then they just go be a stay-at-home dad. And I don't think that necessarily sets the right precedent or standard either. You know, I think women in the household, like my wife, their mom, like that is largely biologically like what they're designed and tuned to do. And so again, making sure the resources are there for her to flourish and her to have the space and be who she needs to be so she can do the vast majority of raising the kids. I think that's like very much what the equation actually looks like. And that'll get people all sorts of sideways or feeling some type of way. But again, you just look at like, you know, like a guy like Elon, he just got sued again for, you know, like one of his new baby moms is suing him. And it's just a money thing. Oh, not an involved father. It's like Elon Musk was never going to be there changing diapers. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. That's a good thing. Like as long as he's doing the things he needs to do, I'm sure when he's there, he's having impact and influence. Like that's closer to what the equation should look like, in my opinion.
I love your chats on autism.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're one of the ones out there openly saying like you need a little bit of an autistic tendency in a certain area of your life to master it. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about, you know, how autistic I am when it comes to like podcasting, and like you're probably a little bit autistic when it comes to selling things online and TikTok Shop, and like other people are autistic. Iman's definitely autistic when it comes to content and what he's doing.
Sam Oven's just autistic.
Yeah, yeah, he's special ed, 100%. Like, but you can't achieve what Sam's achieved without having that level of autism. So walk me through your autism theory.
No, I think even beyond just myself, for like the public facing people, a lot of like the serious internet sauce comes from, like, I call them like weaponized autists. Like the whole business space on Instagram, it comes from like these two guys. Like this kid Gabe is one of them. He does a lot for me. Like I'll spend all this time thinking through scripts and this, and Gabe will look at it and be like, this is stupid. Like, why? Well, it doesn't relate to, like, he just gets it. Yeah. And then you give him like an espresso martini and he'll sit there and he'll rip like 50 hooks that are like, no, this will do it. Like half of my most viral videos have come from really like appreciating people like that. Like again, they know something I don't, right? Because again, it's like a superpower. Like just having that, you see the world, like I saw the world totally different with Amazon. Like I saw it as an algorithm. Like everyone's looking at like product pages. I'm like, no, if you get to the top and then you reverse engineer it here, and the more you tap into like your unique ability in those components, and the more you respect that from like a, team building side of things. Because you look at like when Trump won in 2016, not enough people talk about this. That whole crew was like autistic as fuck. They were doing Facebook ads and like Cambridge Analytica. Like they all saw the world different, but it's often those people who don't get too attached to what was, and they just kind of see where it's going and they kind of get it, and they're like, okay, well, if a vote costs this and we can take these data points and sway X amount of voters, this, like, it's math, like, and it works. Like it actually works. And you look at like even big artists like, Drake, there's controversy with this guy, Zach Bia, who like, did he master Twitter bots back in the day? And like that type of stuff is often where a lot of the edge is found, believe it or not.
Well, what the key thing here as well with what you're doing, I want people to really get, is the fact that you do spend a little bit of time consuming to see where the puck's going, but you're more of a practitioner. You test and you test and you test and you test, and the best people, like the Sam Ovens, like the Imans, like yourself, like Hormozy, like everyone else that's winning right now, you're all testing lots of different stuff, and it might not all work. And people only see your winners, don't they? They don't see how many times you potentially have to lose on a piece of content to get. Yeah,
and that's where not letting that ego get involved. Ego's a bitch. Like we all have ego. I won't like say I don't, or like you don't. Like we all have it to some degree. But you think about like content, it's like, oh, I hate when people say, oh, my account's messed up, or oh, the algorithm. Like, bro, your content sucks. Your content sucks. Like that's just what it. Like own it. And then the other piece of that where ego is really important is when you think about things changing and where things are going. That's where ego again messes you up. Like I had this great run making really high production Instagram content, like really cool stuff, artistic, I love it. And then all of a sudden that kind of phases out. And the ego was like, no, let's keep doing it. Or like, let's make it better. Like we had a run, like whatever. The person who I want to be forever is that, mentally fluid and curious, where I look at the landscape and I go, raw content is fucking working right now. Pick up the iPhone and just talk to the screen. Like fuck the production team, fuck all that. And the second I start, because that's where the game's at right now. Objectively, that's where the game's at. I don't make the rules. I study enough to know where it's at. I understand my old style is not doing well. It had a run. And so you have to be humble enough to say, okay, well, I'm gonna pivot. And me picking up the phone and just talking and then editing it myself on TikTok and posting it, I'm getting more views than all of those videos combined. And that just ties to like, again, and it'll change again in 3-4 months. You have to be humble enough to say, okay, like it's changing. I need to try something new. And then sometimes those new things won't work. And then you need to be, again, humble enough to be curious and never, like that's kind of the recipe for life, honestly.
Man, I created a bit of content the other day about how TRT's a psyop. Just recorded it on the Instagram stories, downloaded it, slapped it into a reel, edited it up, boom, put it out. Comments start coming in, views, shares start coming in. I thought, that makes sense now. You know what I mean? Because like everything else on the page is all produced or it's professional.
No, exactly.
Like people aren't resonating with that.
No, and they want raw. And then even one step further, it's like I kind of knew that, but still couldn't crack it. And so I call Jimmy, my young business partner, the 23-year-old who lives on TikTok, and I'm like, bro, what's what's wrong? He's like, oh, your tonality, little details, because that's native to him, right? Like I didn't grow up on TikTok. He's like, no, like make sure you're directly centered, make sure the lighting's coming here, make sure, like little details. And then like I wouldn't have got that by myself, but again, being, I guess, humble enough to call the 23-year-old and say, I don't know. Like I don't know, help me.
This is where businesses are struggling. They're not talking to the natives of the age group on the platform that they're posting at.
Exactly, and they never do. But all the great ones, like over history, anyone that's stuck around for a long time has always been super in tune with that younger generation. Like I do these artist examples all the time, but like Drake, like Lil Yachty's his best friend right now, and Yachty's 25, Drake's 37. You know, it's just like, and he kind of copies his style, like.
Yeah, but it works. He makes his own style out of someone else's style. But there's a quote, isn't there? Great artists steal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that's literally what everyone's doing, and like.
Or all Virgil says, you know, make it 3% better. You know. Kind of same idea.
3%. It doesn't matter whether it's 3 or 5. The point is, all he's saying is like just cook it from a little different angle, and that little subtle difference makes all the shift.
Okay, coming full circle here, and now you see why dead internet theory is gonna fucking eventually exist as AI and automation becomes. Hey, this worked. Just slightly change it. And then all of a sudden, no one will produce anything new, and it'll be, we'll see.
Yeah. What's another theory that you think is coming down the track that's going to be here sooner than ever?
That's the big one. There's this idea. I'll share another fun idea that I really like. There's this idea that, you know, like people predict the future, like these great stories. This ties back to like power of narrative, and like I tied it in like esoteric billionaire knowledge. But there's this idea that like good stories predict the future, like 1984, George Orwell. You know, it's like, wow, we're really moving into this security state or whatever. And I think the truth is, if powerful narratives get into the human consciousness, they create the future. I think narrative is so powerful, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's not actually that people are predicting the future, it's that stories are so good, they shape the future.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful part of the internet. Let's put out phenomenal stories and stop telling us, you know, stories of this horrible default and like crash.
Well, if you actually think about time as a concept, time doesn't exist, but because all of us consciously believe in time, time exists to everybody. Right, so we make time exist because we all believe in it, so we all subscribe to it. Because obviously, if you go into deeper psychology of timelines, they reckon we're not even on the same timeline that they say we're on.
How many times you hit DMT?
I've done DMT 3 times in my life, mate. And
that's where you understand time, mate.
That sends you through the portal, and like people, when you come back, people are like, "You've been gone 15 minutes," but it doesn't feel like 15 minutes.
No, it feels like
I've literally been riding through the Sahara Desert on a horse somewhere, and then seeing Genghis Khan fighting in some battle, and then come back in the room 15 minutes
I'm totally
later.
with you on all this stuff.
How are you using like things like DMT and mushrooms to open up your mind to experience different stuff?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's been like super conscious as much as it's been more intuitive. Like I haven't really respected the concept of time since like since I was like 22. Like I kind of felt like it was this fake thing and we all exist on this time, like we're experiencing, but it's really hard to like articulate this stuff, you know, but that's been more of like my, you probably know what I'm saying,
yeah.
But articulating that's like, you know, you start sounding real hippy dippy and strange really quick. But I think the more you, like there's like you remove a lot of like the friction of consciousness, and the more you exist like in oneness with this, like it's already happened. So it's like I feel, that's not ongoing because consciousness exists and it currently pulls you out of that feeling a lot. But there's times where I'm like so in tune with it. It's like, oh, like I've already done this. Like wow.
I'll give you an example. I'll try and articulate it and tell me if I murder it. But you know, I'll read the Bible and I'll read all that kind of stuff, and I'll go to church and I understand that side of things. But then I also look at the esoteric principles and try and understand those. And the one time in my life, back when I was living in Australia, there was a super beautiful model that I always wanted to date, and I thought, how do I close the gap on this being in my reality? And obviously, I just kind of decided that, like, you know, wrote it down in my vision that this was going to happen and this, that, and the other, and like just believed it had happened as if I'd stepped into that reality, and then in a short time frame that came into my reality. So there has to be something about the attraction of just believing in the attraction of you embodying it that closes that gap. I don't know how to describe it in a better term than that. But that has to exist because I've seen it in my reality. But then I also believe in the power of God, and I believe God's real and all this other stuff as well. So it's like,
but you think of the concept of omnipresence, right?
Yeah.
It's like we can't fathom that. Like that doesn't, like omnipresence, you're here, like that doesn't, the human mind can't grasp that with time existing.
Yeah.
Like it just can't. So that's where God and that,
well, it's even books like Think and Grow Rich talk about the definite decision. That once you make the definitive decision, like the guy that was wanting to work with Edison, he made the definite decision to work with him, and because he made the definite decision, that's the definite decision that I'm talking about that I made. I made that definite decision. When you make that definite decision and you believe in it wholeheartedly, that's how you close the gap and time collapses for you.
So tell me this one. How would you sort this, or what would your philosophical analysis of this be? I told you I had like the whole little relationship thing fall apart recently, right?
Yeah.
There was like the girl in my college. Like it was my wife and honestly this one other girl. Like she had been like the thing. And we kind of grew up in the same area, like through high school, that whole time. And we only had one interaction in college, and I was drunk and like totally got shot down, but in my mind this entire time, I just always knew that was going to come around. I don't know why, I just knew it. Like I never felt like anything other than, like we're going to hook up, like something's going to happen here. And we go on our separate lives, like always kind of loosely connected on Instagram. She ends up marrying like a, professional athlete and has kids. I have kids, and we still just kind of loosely connected, like not like no meaningful way whatsoever. And then, like long story short, she gets divorced. This whole thing like comes back around in like a wild scenario. And that's when I told you I was at St. Bart's, and like I'm sitting there and I'm like, whoa, I got the girl I always that everyone wanted, that I wanted. I'm across from Bezos right now. I'm 32. Anything's possible. And like, wow. But I had really always like seen that too. I don't know why. Like I had seen that, and then then you gotta like make sense of what does it actually mean. And maybe she's kind of nuts, but that's another piece. What do you make of that?
I believe in everything you're saying, because there's many different parts of my life that I've seen, like even this interview and seeing what we're doing now in Miami, and I saw the Tate interview years and years before it happened, and I've seen interviews with some other people that people won't believe I'm going to have on the podcast, but I've already seen it in my mind and I can't unsee it. Even when I'm meditating, I see it. Time fade. And so all I'm going to say is, like, everything that you've said there of your internal knowing, it's just I believe in that knowing, and you can't unsee it once you know it. But the only way that you see it is if you can be able to get in touch with yourself, to be able to sit with yourself long enough to understand your internal
that is there. Do you think people run from it a lot?
Yeah, I think that like you noticed on the way to this podcast today, everyone's going to Ultra Music Festival, right?
It's a distraction.
Yeah, that is a peak distractional state to distract you from a life that you don't love. That's why you're at Ultra Music Festival. Because if you honestly loved your life, how could you go sit and watch someone on stage bopping up and down, like looking at some like
I think
random guy?
And that ties back to like what I want my personal brand to be. I do think there's so much fear. Even me, bro. Like I haven't really said this publicly, but I told you I do want to do some music stuff, and I've seen like.
What holds you back?
Nothing. Like I decided around New Year's that like I'm gonna send it. Like I've been kind of cooking in the background. I'm gonna come up with a plan and send it. But I've been having those like. I'm driving on my golf cart the other morning after I dropped my kids off, and this Fred Again song is playing, and I'm like quite literally, like I'm still there driving the golf cart, like in a DMT experience almost, like not fully gone, but like I'm literally seeing myself on stage. I'm like, it's like the best feeling ever. I'm like, oh wow, the crowd's like so, but that is scary. Like actually, even for me, I'm not afraid to say that. Like it's risk. It's like, oh, I built this reputation as this guy. What if the music's whack? What if people don't fuck with it? But when you seek that fear out and go crush it, that's growth.
But what if you've gone through your whole life learning how to tell stories to sell brands, only to come back round to make music that tells stories?
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I want music to be like a Tony Robbins seminar almost, because you can tell people all day and you can share information and all that, but at the end of the day, the human equation is complex, and sometimes there's more to be unlocked emotionally through music and sound, and so I'm gonna we'll see how the next couple of years go. I'm excited.
And if you could find a way to make your music at the right frequency so it actually empowers the body rather than disempowers the body under the satanic frequency.
You been watching my content?
Yeah, no, I haven't. No, I just study this stuff. Like
I've been pushing frequency tough. You just seen those?
No. I haven't seen that one. But I just know that all these frequencies, all these festivals, all this stuff that's pumped out.
You can take people here. You can take people here.
Yeah, you can take people to a real low frequency. It's like an indoctrination event, essentially. If it's done in the wrong environment, if it's done for the right purpose, you can raise someone's vibration.
Yeah,
you know?
big time.
So it's like you're coming at it from the point of view of you're actually seeing music as art, want to tell your own story, and want to raise people's vibrations.
Yeah.
Right? So how are you thinking about cooking that? Are you talking about like happy music that people meditate to, or
no, I'm thinking more of like I've been trying to find really the right genre, and like so I've had like a music kind of background. I was like 18, 19. I used to produce like hip hop and mix and master stuff. I really like some of the elements of house music in like a uplifting, not like the dungeon EDM stuff, but there's some interesting things to be done there. So I've been studying it a lot lately and trying to kind of figure out where I want to land on all of it. But I guess that's where I'm at right now, and just that ability to even perform live. I think that's where it's like can almost be like a spiritual experience, you know.
So it's funny. Once people have made money, everyone returns back to art. See, I see podcasting as art. Podcasting is art to me. Like I love it.
And nowadays they should just do both.
Yeah.
That's what I'm screaming. Like do both. Like make you can get paid with it because of the internet.
Like Jordan Welch, he's been DJing for the last year.
I love that.
And he's just played.
The show with Josh Baker. I love that.
And he's been learning that for a year, and you know, it's obviously he made money, then he followed his creative art.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If someone said to you, what's Jordan Welch's art? You'd have said making videos on the internet, right? And if someone said to you, what's your art? Scaling brands, this and the other. But what I'm saying is, you're artists in that way, but that just unlocks your door to your creativity,
to the other areas
that allow you to tell your true creative expression. And that's what it's about. Shout
out Jordan, man, too.
Yeah,
for real.
He's a real nice guy. Yeah.
But that's what I like to see. I tweeted the other day. I was just like, we need more, like multi-dimension. Like, I can't stand just the money equation. Like I want to see, because all these young kids too, that if you can create content and stuff, like you have the talent, and so don't be afraid to like Jordan. That is super respectable. Again, he's built this reputation as this specific guy, and now he's going to go do something totally different because he loves it and he feels called to do that. That's how I feel. That's why I tied back the Jake Paul analogy too. Like he built himself as X, and now he's going to go do Y, and just being able to bet on yourself and.
But how would you give everyone permission that listens to this to step into that narrative now and put them both together? So what they're creating is both like purposeful, it generates money, but it is also that art.
Frankie, hear me out. I learned you can't tell people shit. You can't tell people shit. You got to show them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show them. I'm going to give them a live example of how to do this, and I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to show it, and I want people who look at it, if they hate it, it's a reflection on themselves. If people look at it and they love it, it's a reflection on themselves.
Yeah, and when I'm creating podcasts like this with you, one of the conscious things that I'm always thinking at the back of my mind is I don't just want people to listen to this content, I want people to feel it.
Exactly, because that emotional component.
Because if you can feel it, that's how you can connect the dots. Like there's plenty of tutorials of you talking about the XYZ of TikTok Shop.
Yep.
We've got some insights in TikTok Shop in this podcast, but what I really wanted to connect with today is you.
It's the emotion.
And because if they can understand the emotion and the journey of you as a man and what you've had to go through, then they can connect it at the back end with the TikTok Shop and blow it up. But they would have felt it, you know?
Brother, it's like, why do you think I'm doing the movie Mentories? It's like I could go make another video on the step-by-step, but if people aren't awakened, like emotionally feeling something, it's not going to matter. It won't resonate. It won't change. And I love how you're doing this podcast. I love how you think about it. It's like, because the truth with all of this stuff, bro, I put my fucking heart and soul in this. Like it is my everything. It's all I think about. And the deeper the more opportunity there is to actually talk about this, people see and respect that. And so thank you for even like opening this up and just being able to share real life. Like it is like, bro, my mom has a cancer diagnosis, and I'm still like, I'm gonna be the man I need to be, and that's real. Like that's dedication, that's obsession, that's the right answer, and I want more people to fucking feel that. I really do, because everyone's quiet desperation out there, going to the festival, numbing themselves, drinking. You feel the frequency in Miami is just dog shit. You feel it everywhere is dog shit.
But your mom will watch this and she'll realize how
trying to be who I'm supposed to be.
Proud she is of you.
Yeah.
Because she's probably hearing you talk on this podcast in deeper depths of concepts and stuff that you've ever talked about. Because a lot of podcasts just take you on the technical route, and I understand the technical route. I understand that everyone wants to come on here and blow up on TikTok. I get that. But you need to be able to feel the journey before you can go and get the millions on the TikTok shop. There has to be some feeling in it.
No, you get it. You have to become the person.
You have to become the person. So so if I don't show them you, then they can't become the person that's required to be able to step on TikTok shop and make the $1 million a month.
No, it's real.
So, and I think when I've listened to all of your other works, it's very tactical. It's very like, oh yeah, I can follow the steps to make money on TikTok shop. But it's like, yeah, but who do I need to become as a man or a woman to be able to step and embody that? Because if you go and obtain money, and we both know this from this Miami culture or Dubai culture, if you go and obtain money too soon and don't have the container that can fully hold and embody that energy, you will blow it up. And that's what you were talking about earlier on this podcast, how people had
if not financially, practically, you'll live, there's so many people with a lot of money that are deeply unhappy.
Did you ever hear about the Chinese billionaire that went from being worth 10 billion in one day to 1 billion, and he topped himself at the top of a building, threw himself off a building? So he went from 10 billion to 1 billion, and he thought his life had ended. Now, he hadn't built up his container to be able to deal with the thesis of that happening and be okay with 1 billion, right? But what you've talked about earlier on in this podcast, which I loved, was the fact of you've gone, hey, I lost a $20 to $50 million brand the other day, but let's put it in the grand scheme of things.
It's just the plot.
It's just part of the journey. Character development. But you're 32, right?
Yeah.
You perhaps couldn't have dealt with that at 22. I think people are getting success and this multi-million-dollar business ideas and stuff too soon, which is making them blow it up.
Yeah.
Because how many videos do you see on the internet? Even Jordan Welch, made money early, then put out a video saying, "Hey, I feel lost," And you will feel lost because you're meant to go through your 20s and into your 30s as a man, learning all these things to be able to contain it, right?
Actually, now that I think about it, because I'm definitely older in the online money crowd, I can't tell you how many people have reached out after they've made the first couple $1 million or whatever, and they're flying high, and then all of a sudden it's wait, what's next? Well, I'm glad you asked. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs, roller coasters, this, that. But the sooner you can, like I said, you got to solve the money equation. I never want to be that guy that money doesn't matter. But the sooner you commit to being a well-rounded individual that's wanting to max out different stats, it's the better off you're going to be.
Well, one of our mutual friends called Jack Hopkins, he's someone, and he's from my local area as well, back in England. And I've watched him go from the brash online guy to mastering his own reality and mastering his own self. And I've seen him do it over 4 or 5 years, and he's way ahead of his curve. And people should study Jack Hopkins and the way he's moving online, and the way he's evolving as a man, because that is someone who's increasing his capacity of container to be able to hold on to the money and the abundance that he creates. Whereas some of these other influencers that people are following, they're not doing that. They're here today, gone tomorrow, here today, gone tomorrow, here today, gone tomorrow, because their spiritual container, their embodiment as a man cannot encompass the money that they create. So they have to go and do dumb shit. They have to blow it up.
Yeah. Tyler's another one that I feel he's it's been me and him that sparked a lot of this Miami movement, but he's going to turn 23. And he just sold his Rolls Royce. He's selling a bunch of his watches, and he's way less material. And that in and of itself is powerful because people look up to him, right? And a lot of young kids want to be him, and just to see, you have to be humble to do that too. You're going broke. It's I'm kind of going broke, But it's I don't know. I just think that's the wave and a proper future.
You were saying earlier as well that people can learn from younger people. I was speaking to a young lad called Zarek. I don't know if you know him. He does direct response copywriting. He's in Dubai. Okay. He's a real phenomenal direct response copywriter. And he's a young lad. I think he's 22, 23. He's just sold all his stuff again, and he's gone back to zero. And he put something out about it online. And it'd been something I'd been pondering. I'm how can I condense my life rather than carrying around these 3 big suitcases and having wardrobes full of clothes in different countries, how can I condense my life where it's a lot simpler? And it's like, so I started to ask him questions, started to understand his thesis behind it. And when you start to be open to question these younger lads and their thesis on stuff, you can learn loads of little nuanced insights that you perhaps don't even see. So you can always, I want everyone to understand that you can always learn from someone, especially younger people like what you're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I love to finish the podcast with this statement because I think it really allows you to encapsulate the conversation and everything that's going on in your mind right now. But if there's like one piece of advice, one pearl of wisdom that you could give everyone in this audience that they could just put into their life today and it would move their life forward 1%, 2%, 3%, what would it be to you?
Fuck it, send it. That's it. It doesn't need to be more complicated. Like, send it.
Yeah.
Send it. Everyone's like living in fear and like, just send it. Like, do the thing. Like, even if you fuck it up, like that's where the growth comes from. Send it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. You've simplified it. You've simplified it for life.
I try to do that.
And guys, do me a solid favor. Subscribe to this podcast on every platform. And I just want to say again, brother, we all send love to your mum and her health and everything around that right now as well. I really want you to know that. Yeah, I really want to make sure that's in there, man. And guys, yeah, subscribe to this on every platform. Share it with your friends. And I hope this sends it for you way beyond just scaling on TikTok Shop. But I hope you understand the man or the woman that you have to be in order to make it beyond that and contain the money that you make from the modality as well. That's the most important thing I wanted to get from this. You don't just listen to the content that you feel the content to, because that's how you truly embody it, and that's how podcasting should be done. Much love.